Good morning, good morning, good morning, folks. How's everybody doing? JT here with another Chart Talk Live brought to you by Xtrades. It is Thursday, December the 4th. We are heading into the end of 2025. Hope everybody had an excellent holiday break and is ready for the Santa rally to come through your town. All right, let's see. Let me get going over here. Got my screen sharing started. Let's get over to the chat. What's up, Millet? Good to see you. Good morning to you. What's up, Ludovicus? Hope you're doing well. Let me get a quick message out to the chat. I don't know why we've got it. I wish the starting the event would just put out an announcement to the whole chat. That would be great, but I don't think it does. So let's copy link. Stream is up. Come join us. All right, let's go. Let me get back over to the chat here. Ludo, looks like you got me all to yourself this morning. Let's give folks a minute or two to filter in, and then we'll get rolling here. Let's check YouTube. Hope everybody's doing well over there. Looks like everything's going. I didn't forget to click any buttons this morning. Good for me. All right, we'll let folks filter in as they do. What's up, Navy Plum? Good to see you. Good morning. So let's get through some of these trade plans and do a quick analysis of the markets, and then we'll get to work on your new trade requests, trade plan requests, I should say. What's up, Rooster? What's up, LB? Good to see you, brother. Hope you're doing well. All right, so what we're seeing here on ES, again, we were watching this downtrend for a breakout for things to continue to push higher. It's certainly done it in a fairly measured fashion. Lots of consolidation going on here, but looks like things want to break higher going into the close of the week this week. If we do continue over and get a good confirmation, we're kind of sitting right at an interesting level right now. I'd say he's sitting right. I don't know, actually. There's not a whole big window of opportunity there. It's a level right down about here, though, where we're exactly where we're at pre-market. So, yeah, right about here. So we're kind of running up right against it this morning. But be looking for a break in that 68, 69 level. I think that will open up more room to the upside and could open up a bigger move to the upside, especially with all the consolidation we've seen over the last few days. Key levels that I'd be watching, bigger picture, maybe not going to hit intraday, but I would say, heading into the end of this year, I'd be watching the 69.19 level. And then, of course, we've got all-time highs right up around this 69.51. That was a all-time high that we caught with a fib extension well before we ever got there. And then over 69.51, this is kind of a theoretical resistance there at 69.70, but really that opens up room to 7,000 plus from a fib extension standpoint. So keep an eye on things. Again, we are up against some key resistance here this morning that I think if we can push through, could open up some room to the upside. What's up, JJ? What's up, King Miyagi? What's up, Sita? Good to see you all here. What's up, new trader? Good to see you as well. Oh, what happened to Navy Plum? He disappeared. One of the OGs of Chart Talk Live. All right, so let's get to some trade plan recaps, and then we will get to some new ticker requests. So if you all have any ticker requests that you want me to plan, take a look at, analyze for us this morning so we can get some setups and make some money on those, feel free to go ahead and start dropping those in the chat. So we had NVO, Novo Nordisk. We did this one on Tuesday. It made a move down right to our put entry, which was going to be key support there pre-market actually this morning. Bounced off of that so far pretty nicely, but running up against resistance right here at the call stop loss average down level. So things kind of looking still wait and see on Nova, although I do like that bounce off that put entry hourly bullish flag here on NTS. So if we get another test of 4680, might not be the worst place to look to maybe scoop some shares for a longer term hold. Certainly could bounce directly from there, but if it doesn't, I'd be surprised and yeah, be surprised if it lost 45.75 and 46.80 doesn't hold. And if it does lose 45.75 and it's not something you're willing to hold longer term, it could certainly cut those shares if we break below that support. But again, we'd be looking for a bounce off that 46.80 level, our put entry from the plan we did Tuesday. So far, nothing's really happened though as far as following these plans on NVO. And then Apple, this one gave us a nice break, pushed almost all the way to PT2 there within the day on Tuesday, ultimately hit PT2 plus yesterday. Take a look at this on a smaller time frame so we can see how we had our break, back test, and then push. I know that's hard to see on the 1 hour time frame, but we got our break above here on the 15-minute candle, came down, back test, swept below a little bit, but again, overall bullish momentum still there, not invalidating the stop loss average down level, overall holding up in the buy range. Once we get that break over, this whole area becomes support, remember that. So anyway, got that push, ran right up to PT1, rejected, gave us the back test again. This is why you don't chase, especially when you're right up there. Oh, sorry about that. That's kind of always running in the background. I didn't realize the mic was picking it up. Thank you for letting me know, JJ. I appreciate it. Yeah, we tapped that PT1, pull back again. This is why you don't chase those like immediate big pump moves right out of the open. Wait for those back tests. Those are the best setups that you can get. Then we got a break above. Then we back tested, flipped. How about that? That resistance to support. And then got our push up to PT2, and now back to the call entry with the 200 SMA climbing up here. This one could be a good one to try to run it back on Apple, as long as that call entry is holding there at 283.44, 200 SMA helping out. Flipped it. Yeah, that's pretty much how I said it. Anyway, Apple's looking good for a potential replay, rewind, run it back on this trade plan entry. We're right back at it, but now we've got some additional help from the 200 SMA, which I really like. And then we've got a great setup of confluence. Again, it wasn't there when we had it before, and this is, again, one of the beauties of NTS is how it can find support and resistance dynamically for you. So this was an existing support and resistance level, key one that we were watching for this call side plan to remain valid. But again, NTS was way down here, but as the price action worked itself out, so did NTS, and now we've got a perfect confluence right there at 282.26 with the 200 SMA, again, giving us some support right up here, but higher overall, still in the buying pressure. So yeah, this 283.44 back test, again, as long as that's holding into open, looks pretty good for a shot at running this plan back a second time. So let's get to some of these new ticker requests. That's our recap session. New trader wants to take a look at CRWV. If there's any other ticker requests, go ahead and start dropping those in the chat. Or if y'all have any questions that you want me to kind of wax poetic about while we work on these trade plans, feel free to drop those in the chat as well. And again, when I say the chat, I mean the morning live stream chat. If you don't see that, click the little word bubble icon. I think it's in the top right hand corner. If it's not already open, that'll open up the chat for you. All right, let's take a look at CRWV, CoreWeave. I wonder if that's why you were saying, yeah, we looked at this last Thursday, or no, a couple Thursdays ago. My apologies. And it's kind of right back. It hit PT1 for, well, sorry, that plan was in place after that PT1 hit. So it actually dropped down, hit PT1 for puts a couple of times, has since bounced, gave us a push almost to PT1 there on that last break to the upside. NTS flipping bullish, catching that support bounce right down there, adding some confluence to that 73.12 level, just like what we were talking about a second ago on Apple. I'm kind of wondering if we just don't look to rerun the same plan. I'm just a little bit interested. High of that candle 82. 84, that's not, I wouldn't really call that a hit. I want to see within a few, like within 10 cents of that level. Because I'm kind of, I don't want to say a perfectionist, but I like accuracy in my levels. So if they're not catching really well, I want to take a look at that. But that was also big rejection. 333's coming down there. So I wonder if, yeah, I'm kind of thinking maybe we adjust this plan for a different break to the upside that really opens up a nice potential move versus trying to rush into this trade too soon. Yeah, I think that is what we're going to do actually. So I would switch this up because we do now have, and this is a little bit, this is the other reason why I would make this adjustment, is we've got the 333 coming down right here. So if we're kind of projecting this out, right, I would expect that as the price moves up, this will start to flatten out a little bit, kind of like what I drew there. We'll have a confluence right there with that potential call entry. Also had that big rejection off that level last time. So let's look for something that can maybe get some more room and be a better swing opportunity versus something that's got a pretty limited and defined window of opportunity if we try to rush into it too quickly. That's basically my thought process here on making this adjustment. And if we make that adjustment, I do like this 87.88 as a first price target. We could certainly switch this prior entry level being a stop loss average down. I want to take a look at these old targets. Yeah, see what I was looking at there. It's not really. Yeah, I'd leave these targets alone after that, actually. So 87.88, 91.49, and then 96.79. We're just adjusting the entry level, the stop loss, and PT1. But I like where those other levels are sitting. And if it really gets going, and you want to hold a free runner, I may have mentioned this last time, which is why I have this level flagged like that. Could look to hold some free runners up to 102.05. So CoreWeave looking like an interesting setup. Downside trade plan. Yeah, not sure that I would change that at all. It looks pretty solid. This was all pre-market, but it was back up above, confirmed as support there. Yeah, I'd leave that downside trade plan exactly where it is again, especially with where NTS is showing that. I'll take a look at ASML. Sure, I don't hate it. It's just low volume, high price, low volume. All right, so let's get this locked in. Then we'll take a look at ASML. All right, so we're looking for that break at 83.22 to take us to 87.88, 91.49, 96.79. Put entry here at 73. Whoops. Gosh, there we go. Cool. That looks good. All right, let's get this published. Here comes the CRWB live stream plan. And let's get this over in the elite chat. Whoops. Everyone with an E. Go. Let's get our alerts hooked up. Save our template. All right, so we are ready to go. Let's just run through this one last time and then we'll go to the next trade plan. What are we looking for here on CRWB, aka CoreWeave? We're looking for a break over 83.22 for targets at 87.88, 91.49, and 96.79 with a stop loss average down at 79.35. To the downside, we're looking for a break below 73.12 that should bring targets at 67.16, 59.91, and 55.40. Those are your CoreWeave upside and downside trade plans. Let's go. All right, let's take a look at ASML. How's Netflix looking? We can take a look at Netflix. That's another interesting one. They just had that stock split. Let's see. So LB, I gave you these trend-based fib extensions, and I told you I wasn't super thrilled about doing them without seeing a low put in. And I think we've done that. So let's adjust this and let's actually get some real levels in here. Very iffy. We are in price discovery. So just keep that in mind. This does make really nice rally-based rally moves, though. We'll say that. Runs up, hits resistance, breaks above, back test, pushes higher, runs up, back test, pushes higher, stair steps up. But that trend is starting to give way a little bit. And the level's not there. It's probably closer. Yeah, right about here. Let's say. Yeah, that looks really good. All right, that should do it for downside targets. Here we have this upside target, or really the top. Gonna be right about there. All right, so what do we do with that? We do some trend-based fib extensions. Really, that trend fires off from down here. So let's see how this looks. Yeah, that looks better. Feel better about these than I did about that previous set. LB. Take this up to the 100% extension. All right, so how do we want to trade this sucker? That's the question. Get into some smaller time frames. I want to see, just because we have limited price data, let's see how this is moving on some of these smaller time frames. There's a gap to fill overhead. Okay, this could be interesting. I'm kind of looking at here. Whoops. at least for the upside, look like this. Get that break above this PM rejection, go for that gap fill, which should take us pretty close to current all-time highs for a PT1 test. And then on up through the fib extensions from there. Where does downside get interesting? Yeah. Also, it'd take us pretty close to breaking below this bullish flag on the 30-minute. Okay. Let's give it a whirl. Whoops, wrong color. That could be, actually, yeah. There's a level to watch here. I would say go ahead and finish taking profits at. All right, well, that gives us our plans. Let's go ahead and lock them in. Oops, come on. Fingers work for me. Oops. It's a lot of ones. All right. Share stop loss. Oh, wait a second. What am I doing? Wrong number, buddy. That looks better. All right. Let's get this cleaned up real quick. And I'll keep that trend line on there. It's not going to hurt anything. Sure. Yeah. What would you guys? Yeah, I would love to do that. Could do that like on a weekend at some point. Yeah, there's all kinds of things that you can learn and kind of use to your advantage to move these charts around and get things done as quickly as I do. Because again, if I'm looking at a setup and I don't have a plan in place, or if I don't even have support and resistance on it yet, you know, I feel like I could probably within 5 to 6 minutes have my levels, have my plan, and be ready to execute something. But that takes years and years of practice. But anyway, I digress. Let's get this going. Let's get this out here for the ASML live stream plan. But yeah, there's all kinds of little cheat codes, if you will, to TradingView that you can take advantage of for sure. All right, let's get this posted in the elite chat, and then we'll take a look at what was the next one? Oh, Netflix. Let's get that. Oh, hang on before I forget. Let's get this guy there. Set this up. And this one we're gonna do 1 hour. All right, let's go. Let's talk through this real quick, and then we'll get to Netflix. And then I'm probably going to have to wrap it up. I do need to get the SPY plan out a little bit early this morning. I've got to be someplace at 9:30 on the dot. So hang in there through market open for me. All right, so what are we looking for here on ASML? We're looking for a break over 1125.90. That should bring targets at 1141.57, 1157.38, and 1170.60 with a stop loss average down at 1115.12. To the downside, we're looking for a break below 1106.73. That should bring targets at 1089.82, 1073.72, and 1060.08 with a shared stop loss average down with the upside trade plan there at 1115.12. All right, so Netflix and chill. Stranger Things season 5. I'm a big fan of the series, but I'm sure they're getting a bunch of hype. They're also doing like a theatrical premiere the same day as the series finale comes out, which that's kind of an interesting idea. I think that's the first one that they've done that with. All right, I never have built up my levels on Netflix once it got that big breakout over I forget whatever the level that was back in the day, but it's currently 94.16 post split. Let's see where we've got some weekly levels hanging out at. That's really interesting. That didn't react as support at all after that double top right there. Not a weekly level, but something I'm going to want to keep on watch as we go through our time frames here. Also an interesting level, but not really locked in on the weekly there either. I have a feeling Netflix does a lot of... It's not one I've traded a ton, believe it or not, but I have a feeling it does a lot of support and resistance testing during the extended hour session, which is why we're not seeing it here on the weekly chart. It's also an interesting level. Could be an interesting level, but I'm not convinced on that yet either. Let's see, what do we got down here? There we go. There's an actual established. All right. I'd be surprised if we don't pick some of these blue levels up on the daily, aka the 24-hour chart. Where am I? Where's the price? There we go. Sorry, it's going the wrong way. Yep. That's kind of was what I was expected to see there. And there. This is an interesting one. Yeah, that probably is sitting a little bit higher, actually. Yeah, right about there. Sorry, had to convince myself a little bit on that one. Yeah, this one's also just a tad lower, right about there. Yep, that looks good there. All right, got the 333 coming up here on the daily. That's good to know. It's good. Yeah, wind up being a pretty good value area to look to start accumulating some Netflix in your long-term portfolios, especially post stock split. All right, let's get to a trade plan here. We're close. Looks like a big old bear flag there though, but hasn't broken down yet. So these patterns can always invalidate. Just because they typically play out in a particular direction does not mean they always play out that direction. They got to get confirmation for that pattern to validate. And so far, Netflix has just bounced. It hasn't had that flag breakdown yet to confirm. There's something in this neck of the woods, for sure. Any other help on that? I'm guessing the answer's nah. Nope. There, though. It's not as picture perfect as I'd like, but when is trading ever perfect, right? We're looking for profits, not perfection. Although I really gave myself a hard time about that. And it was a kind of an immediate realization after I entered that I was like, oh shit, that was not actually a good entry on that ASTS alert yesterday. But at the end of the day, it's played out beautifully. It's very close to my target, totally pumped into the close, broke out over the key level, and is very close to my price target here pre-market. So I'll be taking the rest of those 60 calls that are a few dollars in the money now off at open this morning. So in fact, I'll go ahead and send out a notification about that. Try to post something from my phone as soon as I get to where I need to go after this. All right, so this in here. All right, Netflix, where's the opening? Give us a shot. Yeah, okay. Yeah, there is a level hanging out right there, 333 NTS also. So I would want to definitely encourage you to take a lot of profits at that level there at 109.31 on this upside trade plan. Stop loss average down here. There we go. All right. So, downside trade plan. Shit. I need to rock and roll. You know what? Let's do this one as an upside only. How about that? I'm not too worried about it. I'm kind of skeptical of Netflix breaking down. I mean, it isn't a bear flag. I'd say below 102.15, take puts and hold on because it could drop hard below that. But let's just do this as an upside only trade plan just so, because I got to get rolling here. So I can get the SPY plan done and then get on the road. It's only cool. Good, all right. Get this squared away. Here comes your Netflix call plan. Link. All right, so let's talk through this real quick. What are we looking for here on Netflix? We're waiting for a break over 105.07. That should bring targets at 107.50, 109.31, and 111.45 with a stop loss average down at 103.09. And that does it for this morning's Chart Talk Live, folks. I appreciate y'all joining. We will be back next Tuesday at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So until then, as we always say here, plan your trades, trade your plans, go out there and get some green. Remember, we're looking for profits, not perfection. So secure the bag. I will see you all in the chats. Have a great day.